Okay, so first things first, the ally thing. Ally thing is literally the best thing. It's kind of unsettling. It's gonna need some time to readjust to that, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because you will know who the player is in like 1 minute right after. But what it does essentially kills effectively all data mining. Somebody asked me yesterday in lobby because they're not used to it, are you guys okay with all showing OPGGs? And even though my OPGGs was looking pretty clean, like 85% win rate in like last 20 games, I said no, it's a matter of principle because I think this would be better in the long term, and he also agreed. So all the third-party apps are going to be less useful now. It was going to be less data mining, it's going to be less hostility from previous games. You will go in a game where, you know how differences between you and other players in previous game can carry over to the next one? That is dead. So you're not going to come in a game, oh, it's this shitter again. And in case the game goes in, like you start flaming each other the entire time. It's like very hostile environment where nobody gets to play the game properly. So this is just the best way, and this is the best way to kill as much animosity as you can and lower the dodging percent based on data mining. So there will still be dodging based on champions. Like I've seen a couple of dodges from yesterday and today still. Like I've been testing for like hours on end.
Let's go classic ring now, by the way. You are... Riot, do something! For God's sake, can you stop people from dodging?
You still see people dodge because, oh, I don't like this comp, I don't want to play against this counter, which, it's like a lesser evil, I guess. I would like to see dodging more harshly punished eventually down the road, which is also like a really good long-term thing with the voice chat addition, but one step at a time. We're getting this at least, so baby steps. So that's the first thing. Champion anonymity is probably the best thing about the preseason. Road of Ages. Road of Ages, guys. Road of Ages is sick. It's alright, Road of Ages is pretty solid, honestly, but I don't see it breaking the game because it got over-nerfed. Now, we won't go too much into it because here, right here, I've opened this up. Patch 12.22b, Road of Ages is penned up here for a system buff soon because it is underperforming right now, as we thought. And I did get mixed messaging in the games yesterday that we played. It just doesn't feel that the reward is worth waiting 10 more minutes. And I feel like it's only working in certain matchups. So with the buff, it's going to be quite good, I think. Depends what the buff is, but we're going to keep track of that. So I've played it, and I think it's good. The biggest issue with the Road of Ages is, even though it got nerfed twice from PB original installment, it performs to a quite good degree, but the pairing of it is terrible. On PB, it was rolled out with a pairing of Road of Ages Archangel, which I thought was a brilliant combo, and I thought it was like a perfect late game playstyle. So you could play a mage late game, you would carry games less in early, but you would trade off that for late game and you would have higher late game impact, which is actually a really good playstyle. Like it allowed mages to have this like upwards curve instead of just being flat and boring. What I mean by that is most mages, what are they gonna do? They fight each other in mid lane, nobody achieves anything. Both wave clear, both farm, both wave clear, both farm. At the end of the day, they're both kind of strong, but neither of them is gonna overtake the game because mages don't necessarily have like huge damage spikes, huge resets and all that and just crushing the team fights. That happens with all the other characters, with the jungle, top and AD carries. So mages don't tend to carry or impact the game in a high degree. So I thought that was gonna be a great build where you sacrifice the early, and if you're skilled, you can compensate for that early, and then you obviously get rewarded greatly for that because you one-shot people once you get those 2 item spikes. But Archangel got reverted, and I've been talking about it all the time on Twitter, trying to get Riot to get the Archangel back to the AP variant, the one that gives AP instead of haste. So if they do that, that's going to be a perfect build setup. I'm hoping they will, honestly. I'm kind of hopeful because they're already like working on Road of Ages, and I've criticized that already from yesterday. So that's a big thing. Other big changes. Jungle has a bunch of changes, right? I'm not a huge fan of the new jungle. I'll be honest here. First of all, I don't like the noob-friendly stuff. I've never really liked that. I think it's totally chill, totally fine if you implement it in normal games to tell people, oh, you should do this camp first, this camp second. I think that's like a good training wheels and learning for people to get into jungle because it's an obscure role. But the fact that it exists in ranked game is pretty stupid because I always do this like reference, but if you take a game like Quake, which is just the pinnacle of solo skill, like perfection, the game doesn't help you at all. The movement is on you and tracking of every single pickup is on you. The game is like 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Oh, I picked up mega health at 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Okay, so it's gonna spawn in 3 minutes and 52 seconds or whatever, however long the mega health is, and the big armor, like the red armor and all that. So people would play this game and they would track literally everything, okay? I didn't even like when they added so you could track the dragons and the jungle camps and all of that, because back in the day you couldn't track jungle camps. You didn't get like these timers that like, oh, in 15 seconds you're gonna get the jungle camp. All right, so you would time literally everything. When you counter jungle, when you in early game you would observe where enemy jungler started, so you could be like like, okay, 7 minutes is gonna be enemy blue buff. I'm gonna invade enemy blue buff at 7 minutes dead on, you know? Now it's a bit more noob friendly, and now they got it even way more noob friendly with all these new changes. So I think the jungle is too easy, and the biggest issue I have with the jungle, by far the biggest issue with the jungle, is the counter jungling got nerfed. You can't pull minions quite far out of their camps because they immediately reset, they snap back. You do more damage to your own jungle camps than enemy jungle camps, which it kills kind of snowballing, which could also theoretically be good for the game, but the issue is junglers do more damage to jungle camps and get more experience from jungle camps. They get more gold and experience from jungle camps, and not laners. So that's super shit. One of the best things about this game is its own flexibility. If your jungler is terrible, you can compensate by being a good mid laner. You can absorb resources, you can do chickens. Your AD carry can do golem or a grump, and your top laner can do krugs and all that. So you could do that, and that would be really good. That was a great mechanic back in the day, but now it's pretty bad. You get punished for being flexible and doing things like that. If you have like a hyper ganking Elise, hyper ganking Rek'Sai who's not focusing on farming, the fact that you can take the camp for them will skyrocket your team's value because you're kind of doing multiple things at the same time. Then again, very, very flexible playstyle. Right now, this playstyle is just perma clear. And from what I've noticed, and I played yesterday 8 hours this game and played a little bit today. So what I've noticed is no junglers ever lose. It's practically impossible for a jungler to lose in a game. I've had this experience, like yesterday, we counter jungled Kiana, which is much more difficult now to do. You counter jungle her, she goes 0-2 and she's behind, okay? She's like 20 CS to 40 CS, 0-2 losing to the jungler. Guess what happens? Kiana is the first, except the enemy jungler, to get the 3 items. This is a good point I'm stacking, but look, like, I'm 2-1, good CS, she's behind. Look, item Dirk. What the fuck? Item Dirk, and she's behind as a jungler. Like, you cannot be behind, it's impossible. So enemy Kiana goes horribly behind early game, dies twice in early game as a jungler, which should be absolutely detrimental for your game. She's the one second to 3 items. So as a jungler, you can almost never be behind. The way it works is, oh no, I'm a jungler and I'm behind. You're still ahead of other 8 players in the game. So you're only behind the enemy jungler. It's really horrible how it works. Kiana caught up in CS. That should not be a thing. Kiana is not a farming jungler. From what I'm seeing, jungling is too easy. Farming is too easy. Every champion can almost absorb jungle perfectly. Everyone can clear by 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Everyone can perma clear fast. It's just really bad. It's really bad. It kills all sort of skill expression. And if you're a jungler, you should have problems with this as well. It's really, really bad. It's PvE without risk. Camps are tankier, but easier to take for junglers. Horrible for laners, easier to take for junglers. You basically take no damage, you can farm everything. There are no more like weak junglers, strong junglers like you had. Oh, Warwick is like a super easy jungler to play, like Graves, but they didn't reward you much in the game later on because they're not that versatile, because they're one-dimensional. Although now Graves is giga broken, so you guys probably don't remember that reference. But that's how it used to be. But then Evelynn was a very weak jungler who gets always super low on the clear, but then you can invade her and punish her. But then she can one-shot you level 6. So there was a trade-off of power. She would have to struggle with the jungle early game, but if she gets rolling, she gets rolling. Yeah, now I just don't see that happening. Everyone works. Everything works. Everything else, I feel like it's super good. The tanky items are good. Getting tankier is pretty good. I like that. The Archangel should definitely get changed. Rod of Age is a pretty solid thing. Here's another huge change which decides how meta will run, especially in competitive, and you'll see this. Mark my words what I'm saying right now. I played this for, again, 10 hours tops, but I can already see the pattern emerge. So what happens now is mid lane minions are worth less gold, but solo experience is better. Shared experience is worse. Bad macro resource management gets punished more. So solo queue mismanaging of your resources is horrible. ARAMing gets punished, so NA as a region will suffer. You can't ARAM anymore. You just get cut on the experience and gold, and like, it's absolutely terrible if you ARAM, because mid lane is worth less gold, and if you group up, less experience. So the emerging meta will be finalized 1-3-1. 1-3-1 will be the ultimate strategy in this next season. And I've seen this. I've even adapted vel'koz to this playstyle. You would pick up Rod, you would go side lane and just perma clear. You're always side lane. I teleported top lane into Kled. He tried to fight me and he couldn't because I built tanky build. So that's kind of the way to mitigate this. But if your mid lane cannot side lane, you're probably fucked. You absolutely must be able to side lane in this season, I think. I think side laning is going to be absolutely huge right now. So champs like Tryndamere are going to perform 1-4 setups, really good 1-4 setups like like Fiora stuff, Aurelia, Camille, or 131. 131 is horribly difficult to pull off in solo queue, because even in 1-4 people are gonna either overextend and get caught. But 131 is just a lot of complexity on how you manage your resources. You need communication for that to execute it very well. So for solo queue, 1-4 is gonna be probably the norm. For competitive, you'll see a lot of 131s. Yeah, those are the big changes to experience. Like, trust me, if you're watching this and you want to get better at this game, you want to climb. If you're a mid laner, as soon as anything happens in the map, so the map gets a little bit muddied, just go side lane. Do not stay mid lane. Mid lane is a huge problem for you right now. You want to transfer your AD carry and support to mid lane. They're gonna run around with the jungle, while you have to go side lane. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the norm in the next patches. So those are the big deals. All these items are pretty solid, honestly. I'm digging the tank items. I like the tank items. Lilia should have never got buffed. Lilia is absolutely busted. Chemtech Dragon, I haven't seen much from it. The plans are pretty fun. They're not game breaking. It's super rare thing to happen, and I wasn't too hasty when I saw the video of it. I thought it was going to be totally alright. People will get used to it. So it's alright. Not a huge deal. Let's see. Chemtech buff. When your team kills a Chemtech Dragon, they'll gain stack and 5% tenacity, 5% healing and shielding power. It's pretty interesting, honestly. This is gonna make team fights even crazier with the healing and shielding power or tenacity for like one-man army champions, which are again the champs that we already talked about that they're gonna perform really well. Like if you have Fiora that has one block of ability and has tenacity boots and has tenacity runes and gets tenacity from this, she's unstoppable. She will literally 1v5 your team because it doesn't matter. She pops ghost, runs over your team. It's over, right? So players will receive buff that gives them 10% damage resistance and 10% more damage when below 50% health, again synergizing those one-man army champs. So this is also going to dictate the meta, and yeah, you're gonna get used to the new pings and all of that. So cool, those are all the changes. And I don't know if I mentioned during that, Rod of Ages on mid lane, super situational, probably not that great right now. You're probably defaulting back to Lion but support remains Night Harvester, by far the best, despite what the TikTok comments say and the random YouTube commenters. Okay guys, Night Harvester is still by far the best. My math is not off, trust me on that one. Night Harvester still by far the best on support. Okay, so quick addendum. So the cost of Rod of Ages has been reduced from 3.2 just like minutes ago, basically. So 3.2k to 2.8, making it on par with Crown and Everfrost, which actually makes it a very cheap item. And that's 400 gold value, essentially 20 AP. So in this case, it's even better because you get this slightly earlier. And it gets you from spikes. So instead of getting from level 13 to 14, 12 to 13, you might get to 11 to 12 or 12 to 13. Something like that when it actually spikes. So that's gonna make this item a lot better, honestly. So it makes it a lot cheaper to purchase. So I think this is something along the lines of the buff that I was hoping for, to making this item really good. And now vel'koz with Rod might be back. So as soon as this happens, we're gonna be playing it again. So hell yeah. The payoff is now justified.